Hi guys. Okay, so along with a phonemic awareness video a day, I am going to post a read aloud. Now hopefully you guys are still reading A Boy Called Bat and following along with your the days that you have for A Boy Called Bat, but I'm also going to read you a fun picture book. I'm going to try to do it once a day, so maybe I might read a couple books in the same outfit and then just post them on different days, but then that's my goal, is that I'm working, you're working too, right? If you're working, I'm working. So this is one of my favorites. And normally I have another little cute craft. Maybe we'll do the craft when we get back, or maybe I'll try to post it for parents to do with you on Class Dojo. But here it is, The Luckiest Leprechaun. Now, this is my disclaimer. I do pretend to have an Irish, Scottish, some kind of leprechaun-y sounding voice. It's awful. But I hope you guys like it. Okay, ready? All right, here we go. And I'll give you a good up close of each pictures after I read each page, okay? All right. Mackenzie O'Shamrock at your service, but you can call me Mac. I'm a leprechaun, and I don't care if you believe in me or not. Grumpy guy. Get too close, and I'll show you who's real with my hammer. I may be small, but we leprechauns are not to be trifled with. There, now that that's settled, pull up a toadstool or a chair if you're too big, and I'll tell you my story. Look at this guy. Oof, there's his little hammer too. I was born beneath a fairy hill, back when time was new. Ever since, I've been making shoes for the fairy folk and guarding my gold from greedy people. Treasure hunters have to get up pretty early in the morning to get the best of Mackenzie O'Shamrock. And since leprechauns work at night and sleep during the day, I'm up much earlier than most. Nope, they haven't made the human yet who can outsmart me. It's going to take me a little bit of time to figure this out. There he is. Look at him hiding. Do you see him? His little legs under the toadstool while people look for him. Then people found a new way to boil my potatoes. That's one of my favorite parts of this book, is that saying, ooh, that really boils my potatoes. And I used to make all my kids say it and say it back to me in their best leprechaun voice. So take a minute and try. Ooh, that really boils my potatoes. Are you trying? Well, if you are, take a video and send it to me on Dojo. Okay? All right. Oh, does everybody know what that means? Boil my potatoes. Ooh, that really boils my potatoes. It means it makes me mad. Really makes me mad. Really makes me grumpy. They stopped believing in leprechauns. They believed in all sorts of nonsense. But the little man making shoes beneath their very own hedge? No, couldn't possibly exist. It got so only children and oddballs like Professor Chester believed in me. And there's Professor Chester. I didn't need people anyway. I had a nice home under a tree in a quiet park. As long as I had me gold and me work, this leprechaun was content. It's a fancy word for happy. Every night I cobbled for the fairies. Since all the little things do is dance and lose their shoes, business was steady. So he made shoes, and every time that the fairies lost their shoes, he would make them new ones, which was a lot. Every morning I'd pack away my tools and curl up in me cozy bed. This reminds me of some of the fairy houses I've seen. Have you guys ever seen those? And that's just what I was doing one fine morning when I heard a horrible scratching overhead. Dirt poured down on me favorite armchair as a pair of giant paws burst through the ceiling. My thimble collection clattered to the floor. I grabbed me hammer and ran outside to see who was wrecking my home. I expected a goblin or some other horrible monster. Can you guys see? What do you think it is? Do you see the paws? I found a shaggy red dog burying a stinky soup bone. Hello, she barked. Who are you? I'm Mackenzie O'Shamrock, I shouted. And you've got some nerve destroying my home. You'll not be stealing my gold, you mangy mortal. So just take your bone and go. I'm sorry, I didn't realize anyone was living here, the dog said. Is that your gold? It's very pretty. Go! Shoo! Get lost! I shouted. The dog didn't budge. Shaking her head, she said, I feel terrible. I've got to make this up to you. I'll fix your house. I'll be your guard dog. I don't need a guard, I said. Some of you were posting about the luckiest thing that you felt luckiest about was having an animal or a pet that lives in your house. This would be a really cute one. But you must need a friend. Everyone needs friends, the dog said. My name is Lucky. What's yours? That made me even madder. Mackenzie O'Shamrock, I yelled. Oh, that's right. You did tell me. Lucky replied. But that's so much to remember. May I just call you Mac? I hope we'll be friends. Everything's more fun when you do it together. Don't you think? Just the other day, Lucky would have gone on like that for hours, but I told her to go away, stay away. Apparently, stay was the only command the dumb dog knew. From then on, wherever I went, there was Lucky. She was slobbering all over me when I woke up at dusk. She was on me heels when I gathered cobwebs for thread. A little bit of love from Lucky. Lucky even tailed me when I made my deliveries to the fairies. And she always had a cheerful word or 100. It drove me nuts. That dog was even happy when it rained. Rain is where rainbows come from, Lucky said. I love rainbows, don't you? I could chase them all day. Why don't you go chase them so I can get some quiet around here? I growled. After a while, Lucky learned not to talk so much, especially when I first woke up in the evening. I won't say we became friends, but she got to be slightly less annoying. Speaking of annoying, remember that human I mentioned before? The oddball who believed in leprechauns? That's right, Professor Chester. Well, he started snooping around my park. He's after me gold, I cried. Maybe he just wants to be friends, Lucky suggested. I snorted. Humans want only one thing from a leprechaun, gold. But he won't get the best of Mackenzie O'Shamrock. Professor Chester was getting dangerously close. He even found a fairy shoe. Don't worry, Mac, said Lucky. You've got your guard dog, remember? I won't let anything happen to your gold. I took no comfort in that mutt's ravings. Some people say they're raving when they're saying crazy things. So he took no comfort in what he thought was crazy talk from a dog. I watched Professor Chester poring over his books of leprechaun lore and stories. If only I could prove their existence, he muttered. I shuddered. Maybe he'll just go away, Lucky said. I thought about packing up, but I liked my cozy life under the tree. Besides, business was good, and it's not so easy to find a park filled with fairies. Then one day, while I was sleeping, the professor found my tree. He was about to capture me and would have gotten my gold for sure when... We've talked about these. You see them, that ellipsis? That means that the sentence continues on the next page, and authors use them when they want to build excitement. Let me just read that sentence to you again. He was about to capture me and would have gotten me gold for sure when... Woof, woof, woof. Lucky came charging out of the woods. The professor cried, "Help, monster, help!" He dropped his map and ran off screaming. I thought I was having a nightmare. I rolled over with a groan and fell right back to sleep. Professor Chester just kept running around until he wore out the soles of his shoes. Turned out the professor was really scared of dogs. That evening, I woke up feeling something was wrong. For one thing, the dumb dog wasn't licking my face. Suddenly, with a jerk, I remembered the nightmare. I checked for my gold in all my secret hiding places. It was gone, and so was Lucky. I called Lucky's name until my voice was hoarse, but there was no answer. I felt as if I had lost my shadow and my friend. I'm going to read that part again. I felt as if I had lost my shadow and my friend. Does he finally really love Lucky? Sounds like it. Then it hit me. My worst fear had come true. The dog wasn't as silly as she seemed. Lucky had duped me, tricked me into trusting her. As soon as I'd let down me guard, she'd run off with me gold. I, Mackenzie O'Shamrock, the smartest leprechaun of them all, had finally been tricked out of my treasure. And there's his treasure. He thinks there's only one little piece of gold left. And this is him remembering, oh, that stinking dog probably just took all my gold. Two more pages. I searched the park for hours, but there was no sign of me gold or of Lucky. I told myself the dog had skipped off with my treasure, but part of me didn't believe it. One minute I was furious. The next I was worried. What if stupid Pooch had chased a rainbow into traffic or gotten herself taken to the pound? I couldn't even keep my mind on me missing gold. Makes me think that he doesn't really think that Lucky stole it. He's really, even if Lucky did steal it, he's still worried about Lucky. I'm going to not show you all the pages now because they give away the surprise. By dawn, I was the saddest leprechaun in the world. After centuries of being suspicious, I'd finally opened my heart, and pow! The first friend I'd made had stolen me gold. Then a voice behind me said, "Why are you crying?" I turned and saw Lucky and me gold. "Where were you?" I yelled. I was worried sick. Lucky licked my face. "You do care. I knew we'd be friends." I wiped the dog slobber from my face and grumbled, "I was just worried about me gold." Is that true? No, he was really worried about me. Lucky explained that she'd seen Professor Chester nosing around near me tree. After she'd chased him away, she'd hidden my treasure in the tool shed just to make sure it was safe. Then, worn out from all the excitement, she'd fallen asleep. "Did you really spend all night looking for me?" Lucky asked. "And the gold," I said hastily. But the damage was done. The dog knew I cared, and she wouldn't stop wagging her tail over it. So, there's me story. Leprechaun gets gold. Leprechaun gets dog. Leprechaun loses gold. Leprechaun admits that a loyal friend is worth more than gold, as long as the friend doesn't slobber too much. Now, if that isn't a tale worth telling upon a toadstool, I'm sure I don't know what is. Okay, The Luckiest Leprechaun. A tale of wagging tail. Whoa, a tail wagging tale of friendship. So this is one of my favorite books, and I was thinking if you need another idea of something to write about, you could write about what we would have written about if we were at school on St. Patrick's Day, was what in your life is worth more than gold, right? Is it a friend? Is it a mom or a dad? Is it weekends at grandma or grandpa's house? What's worth more than gold to you? All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.